Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about a store that seemingly no one really talks about, and that is St. Louis Art Supply. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, I just want to talk about them a little bit. So I stumbled across them on Instagram maybe 2 years ago, and I was pretty impressed with the selection of supplies that they carry because it seemed like it came from pretty high-end brands or like high-quality brands. According to their website, they source things from Japan, Germany, Italy, France, the UK, and also the US. They are located in St. Louis, Missouri, and they have a physical shop as well as an online store. One of the perks they offer is free gift wrapping. I know I didn't need to have these wrapped, but when I got these it was around Christmas time and I felt like treating myself a little. And of course I'm not gonna waste the wrapping or anything like that. I'm gonna use it to decorate my planner and things like that. The first item I got is a bottle of ink from Kakimori, and I'm really excited to be able to swatch it. The next ink bottle you might have actually already seen in my spring fountain pen inks video. It is the Nostalgic Honey from Teranishi. It is one of my absolute favorite inks. Of course, I need to mention that my videos are all out of order, so if you're trying to follow the chronological timeline of when I buy things and when I share them, that is not gonna add up for you, so don't try. Last but not least, we got a nib from Kakimori. Now, this is not what you think it is. It is a pen nib made out of steel. I know that a lot of people buy the Kakimori brass nib, the one that's round and has all the divots in there that hold ink, but I didn't really want that one. I thought about it and I had this feeling that I wouldn't actually like that one because I feel like I don't really like the line variation in the way that dip pen nib offers. I feel like it would frustrate me because I like being able to adjust my hand's writing angle or turn it and still get a pretty consistent line, whereas for that nib it would probably drive me crazy because any change in angle would produce a different sized line. So I got the steel pen nib to maintain consistency in my line width. I actually really adore the packaging from Kakimori. I think it's very simplistic but very nice. This is the pigment ink and I wanted to try it out. They include this little guide to show you, or just to talk about like what to be aware of. It says this product is a pigment ink. Shake well before use. If swallowed, give fluids and seek medical advice. If an eye is flushed with running water and seek medical advice, store in a cool, dry place and away from direct sunlight. Use pen regularly to prevent ink from drying out on nib. Designed and tested for pens sold at Kakimori. May not be compatible with all pens. So yeah, this is a pigment ink, so if you do get this you have to be cautious because it might clog up your pen, but it's not gonna like immediately do it. It'll take a couple days of not moving the pen or agitating the ink or anything like that. Now time for Nostalgic Honey. I love this ink. I love the packaging that it came in. The artwork on it is beautiful. It's from Teranishi Chemical Industry Company. I don't know where the guitar comes in, but it's in the name. It's made in Japan and they do come in these big boxes. But when you open it, the bottle is smaller. It's tucked in and it has this guitar gold star stamp on the top of the bottle cap. That might be where the guitar comes in. And it also includes this little tag so you can swatch the ink so that you'll remember what e-ink looks like. Everything about this bottle and the presentation is just superb. I'm gonna use my Hobonichi Weeks, some of the blank pages, to do a little bit of a swatch. And if you guys notice that binder clip, paper clip clamp in the back, it's actually from High Tide, and that is also a brand that I noticed that St. Louis Art Supply carries. So I'm doing a cotton swab swatch. This ink is just so yummy. There's something about the name of the ink too, like Nostalgic Honey, just makes you feel like you had a childhood where you spent the time outdoors and it was just happy and warm and full of sun. I don't know why it makes you feel that way, but it makes me feel that way. Taisho, Roman, nostalgic, honey. As with most inks, it is darker when it is through a finer nib, but I really like the shading in this ink. I did notice that this nib wasn't really holding much ink, which I thought was kind of annoying because I only wrote like 4 words. So I had to dip again and rewrite Kakimori here. But it is the steel pen nib is what it's called. At least on the St. Louis Art Supply website, that's what it's called. I did like St. Louis Art Supply because at the time that I was buying this, the Kakimori nibs were sold out everywhere, so they were still offering it, and that is a nice perk. I kind of feel like the swatch on the card that they provided is darker than on paper. I always thought it was interesting whenever ink companies would provide like cards, but it doesn't match what you would actually use in real life for writing. I forgot to talk about how amazing this ink bottle is. It's so unique. It's got like a little slope to it. I think that's supposed to help you with filling up your pen. It's slanted at an angle, but I just thought it was kind of cool. I like to collect ink bottles, and my justification is like to collect one of each brand. This blue though is a beautiful, beautiful blue. I don't know how to explain it, but it almost has like a chalky effect to the coloring. Kakimori, this one is called Topori, and it says 06. I don't know if that's like this number 6 ink that they came out with, but it is very nice. It is definitely a little drier. Once again, the steel nib was kind of aggravating me, as I felt like it should be able to write at least half a page. But the one thing I wanted to say about St. Louis Art Supply is, like, nobody's talking about them. And I think the reason is because it's not really in their marketing. Like, when I first saw their name, I was like, oh, it's like a Michael's, like a art supply store, so they're not going to have fountain pens. So I was pretty surprised to see that they actually had a good selection. They have Midori notebooks, they have a bunch of other fountain pen friendly notebooks, they have Kakimori products, they have Kuretake products, and Teranishi products. The one really impressive thing was that they actually have ink samples for Kuretake and Teranishi, and I don't know of any other stores that are doing that right now. They are US based. I don't know if I mentioned that, but for my international viewers, they do ship globally. I decided to go back in after pretty much going and washing this nib, because basically when you do calligraphy, you have to prep your nib. You can't just use it straight out of the box because of the manufacturing oils or whatever. They interfere with being able to pick up ink. This pen nib holder from Bros, and I don't really like it. I'd recommend getting a higher end one. Back to the Kakimori nib. As you can see, it kind of stopped around the word think, and that's where I had to re-dip. But I'm just kind of journaling my stream of consciousness about how I feel about this nib. I cleaned it with some Dawn dish soap, and I'm just trying to figure out the best way to maximize the ink capacity that it can hold from one dip. I'm writing that I think the Kakimori blue ink has already stained the nib, but you can't really see it, and I think I did end up cleaning it off. I will say I've had this for about a year and I really enjoy it. It is supposed to be similar to the nibs on your fountain pen without the feed. If you have used normal calligraphy dip nibs, I didn't know this before, but I learned the hard way. If you keep them like soaked in water, they disintegrate. Like, they start rusting after a few hours. This one, if you keep it dipped in water, it shouldn't rust because it's actually like a good quality steel. But because I had it in this Bros nib holder, the metal section in the nib holder rusted and actually stained a little bit of my Kakimori nib. So there's that. But overall, like, the nib itself is still doing really, really well. As long as you like don't submerge your nibs in water or accidentally get water in the pen holder section, you should be fine swiping it off after every session. But here's the final product of my little stationery haul. If you want to see more ink swatching, then go ahead and check out this video I had mentioned earlier where I swatched 7 fountain pen inks for spring. Thank you so much for watching and have a beautiful day.